Hi, welcome to KiwaniTalk. My name is Gary Gardner. I'm your host for this episode, produced by the people from the Dearborn Kiwanis Club with help from students and staff at the Dearborn High School facilities, WDHS, my alma mater. Welcome to the longest running cable access television show in the world. And today we're talking about something that's very big in Dearborn. People sort of know about it. They see it as they drive around. They see it at the homecoming. They see it different places. Talk about the Dearborn Fire Department's Burn Drive fundraiser. Which is more than just the car out in front of the fire stations. To help us talk about that, we have Lieutenant Dan Morenas, Dearborn firefighter, Lieutenant Extraordinaire.
Something like that, Matt.
And we have also firefighter Rick Abraham. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So we'll get into the thing about the fundraiser in a minute, but firefighters, like I always thought I'd want to be a firefighter. Did you guys start out want to be a firefighter, Rick, when you were a little kid, or how did you wind up doing what you're doing?
I actually started off as a police officer.
Okay.
And then switched over. I actually came from another department, had 12 years there, and I just got over 7 here, so starting my 20th year.
Okay, so
full-time firefighting.
Okay, so what was it that made you change from being a police officer to a firefighter?
Back in the 90s, lots of layoffs, talk about layoffs, and looking at the schedule looked good.
Okay.
Working 24-hour shifts, so.
So a 24-hour shift is a good thing? I don't
It is
understand that.
well, you get a little bit more time off, you work longer shifts, but back then, made a little bit more money if you went PSO, which was like a public safety officer, which was a police officer and firefighter.
Right.
But when I got into training for fire, I just went to that.
Yeah, how about you, Dan? What made you want to become a firefighter originally?
Originally, I had no desire in the world to be a firefighter. I was a full-time paramedic, and I was living in Brighton, and I lived with a bunch of men who were paid-on-call firefighters, and eventually they talked me into joining the department, and one day we got sent to a car fire, and I got to use the nozzle and put the car fire out, and from that moment on I was hooked. I knew what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
So there's more than just putting water on fires. There's a science behind firefighting. What about the training that you have to be a qualified firefighter?
Well, there's different levels of training. As firefighters levels 1 and 2. And it just kind of advances your level of training as you move along. And there's also a fire academy that a candidate can graduate from, where they teach them all of the basics that goes along with firefighting, how to roll hose, how to stretch hose on a fire, how to put on breathing apparatus and a mask and your gear, and all of the basics that go along with being a firefighter, raising ladders and so forth. And then when they actually start the job, that's when even more practical training, real-life training begins.
So what are the requirements to become a firefighter, Rick? What would you have to do to become a qualified firefighter, and in particular for Dearborn?
Well, for Dearborn, you have to be a paramedic also. So once you get your firefighting, you have to get your EMT, and then you'd have to get your paramedic license.
And Dearborn is kind of not unique, but it's highly up there as far as the service that the fire department provides, because every firefighter in Dearborn is a qualified EMT, right?
Right.
Well, actually, even more than that, they're all qualified paramedics.
Oh.
Paramedic level care is the highest level of pre-hospital care that's available. We're essentially bringing in a mobile emergency room to your house when we come.
And pretty much every fire piece of equipment, trucks and things, they're all fully equipped as far as paramedic supplies and things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every fire apparatus, fire engine, rescues, everything is equipped to the level of paramedic.
And when you're out there on a run, I don't want to talk about the adrenaline getting going, but you're going there for a reason. Okay?
Yeah, you're going there for a reason.
And you need to get there as quickly as possible. And one of the things that I see more and more is people actually paying attention to fire apparatus. They're hopefully moving over, but you get people that don't always pay attention. I'm sure you can't say it on air, but what do you guys say about people who aren't paying attention on the way to a run?
Oh, no. I think a lot more people have now pulled to the left instead of pulled to the right, or they just stop right where they're at. And would like to just say, hey, pull to the right. It's the safest for us because we use the left side of the center lane to get through. So if they could pull to the right, it'd help us out a lot.
And what is the regulation, if anybody knows, what you're supposed to do when you see a fire apparatus or police apparatus coming towards you or from behind you? What are you supposed to do as a driver of a vehicle?
Well, the driver is supposed to pull to the far right lane when they can safely do that. And in a case where there's multiple lanes, they're actually also required to move one lane away from us to give us an entire lane of safety between the scene and where they're driving.
And also, I see more and more is that when a fire apparatus or police vehicles along the side of a road, especially on a highway, the drivers are supposed to move. If the vehicle stopped, the fire apparatus or the police car stopped, to go around to move a lane over to give plenty of clearance for the fire truck or.
If possible, give an extra lane,
Right.
slow down.
Okay. So when you got into the, did you guys, when you got through your training and you became a firefighter, the whole thing about, is it glamorous or is it scary or is it, there's tragedy, there's happiness? Tell us about those things.
A little bit of both. It's certainly an exciting profession, and it has its ups and downs. We see a lot of really good things. We're fortunate to have these jobs because we can help people when they need us, and we see some bad things.
Right.
So it's kind of up and down with what we see, but all in all, I think it's the best job in the world. I wouldn't do anything else now.
There's some general physical requirements? Men and women are both qualified to do it. What do you have to be able to do to qualify to become a firefighter, Rick?
Well, Western Wayne has a physical agility you're supposed to test, and they change it all the time. The last time I took it, I couldn't tell you what they do now. You know, it used to be climbing steps, carrying a dummy, walking across ladders, keeping your balance, being able to pull rope up with like 50 pounds on it. Now I think it's changed. You're on like a treadmill for 3 minutes, and I couldn't even tell you what else goes into it. I haven't taken it in almost 20 years, so.
Okay. And one of the things that you said that was kind of, you're on duty for 24 hours at a time.
Correct.
And what do you guys do? I mean, you're not out on the road all the time on 24 hours. Sometimes you are.
Sometimes. I mean, rescue-wise, you're pretty busy. And a lot of times now the engines, because over here we have one rescue, the engines follow, so they're out quite a bit here at Station 2. Our rescues, you know, you could have downtime for a couple hours, and then you could be gone for 6-7 hours at a time and come back.
And in Dearborn, how many fire stations are there that we have in the south?
Well, there's 4 in Dearborn, but we also now have the Melvindale station, which is a Dearborn station. So we cover the station at Melvindale now.
And sometimes if there's an emergency in other cities, do you have a cooperation agreement so that Dearborn will help out in other cities? How do you find your way there? I mean, what do you?
Well, Google
Yeah.
and dispatch. Now we have new monitors in the station that will give us a general location of where we're heading. So
Okay.
it pops up on the screen as soon as the run comes through and tells us where to go.
And one of the things that people traditionally think about as far as firefighters is fires in houses. How much of that is part of what you do compared to runs for car accidents or people who've had other issues, or how does that break down?
The vast majority of our run volume is medical emergencies. So that's what we take care of the most. And we do still have house fires, obviously, but it seems to go up and down. Some days we'll have a couple of fires, and then we might not have a fire for a week or more. But that's on our shift. There's also 3 shifts. So, the number of fires nationwide has gone down, but the number of runs and needs for assistance for medical and other types of specialty emergencies has gone up. So we're constantly adjusting our training to meet the new needs.
And in Dearborn, you get the whole, as far as vehicle accidents, you've got freeways running through Dearborn, you got Southfield, you got 94, you got some pretty big roads and things like that, and I imagine there's some activity involved with vehicle accidents.
Absolutely. Yeah, we get quite a few vehicle accidents, and it seems like when the weather breaks in the springtime, we tend to get more accidents. And right now with the Southfield closure, they're getting more accidents on the Southfield Freeway and in the vicinity as people try to avoid that construction area. But for the most part, it's pretty safe around here. We don't get a ton of serious accidents, but we certainly get them just like any community. Most of them are fender benders, fortunately.
Okay, and so how long have you been doing this now, Dan?
I've been in Dearborn for a little over 18 years.
How long have you been a firefighter?
Around 25.
25 years. In that time, the vehicle safety things have come along too, the airbags and those type of things. How much of a difference, if you've noticed, can you compare when you started versus what's happening now with the types of injuries that people are suffering?
Well, I feel like the injuries have been quite a bit less since the advent of airbags. In the side curtain airbags, as all of that has been advancing. So what we end up with now is a lot of minor injuries from the airbags. The way cars are designed now, a lot of cars are designed to be disposable. They're designed to crunch and crush around the occupants to keep them safe. So they're sacrificing the car in order to save the person. So I don't think we do nearly as many extrications where we use the jaws as we used to, because the cars are just designed that much safer for the occupants.
And when you say the jaws, you're referring to the jaws of life?
Yes, sir.
Those things can like open up a car like a tin can, or how does that work, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we actually got a bunch of different tools we can use on there. We got spreaders, we got cutters, and when you see them when they're working, I mean, it'll split it open like a jar of tuna, like you said.
Works pretty.
Works pretty good.
Works pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but then we're talking, one of the main reasons we're here today is to talk about Dearborn Fire Department Firefighters Burn Drive. And unfortunately, that goes along with the territory of being a firefighter. And people who are part of fires in either homes or in their vehicles, they suffer some pretty serious injuries. So let's talk about the whole idea of how long this burn drive has been going along for a long time. It's been over 75 years, I heard?
Yeah, about 75 years. It's been going on a long time.
And
Very long time.
What's the reason? Why does the fire department support the burn drive? Because
Well, way back when, 75 years ago, the men who worked here felt that there was a need to raise money to help the victims that were experiencing burns. Burns are very painful, they're very traumatic, and they're very expensive to treat. A lot of times you need a lot of special supplies when you've suffered a burn, and so they created this burn drive in order to help support the community when they've suffered such a loss.
I'm going to imagine, too, that the survival rate of a burn today compared to the survivability of a burn 75 years ago is a whole different type of thing.
I'd have to imagine that also.
Medically,
Yeah,
it
medicine
could
has
be-
really advanced over the last.
And along with that advancement in the survival is also the after the hospitalization is finished up, you need other things too. So the burn drive helps people not just when they're in the hospital, but more after they're out of the hospital, right? What kind of things does a burn drive support, Rick?
Well, like here, like he says, we help do the gifts at Christmas time. You know, you bring up the spirit of the kids, especially for the kids. Is, you know, I mean, we do it for everybody, but a lot of times we want to make the kids happy that experience such a traumatic situation.
So the fire department goes specifically to kids' houses that have had these traumatic experiences, or focuses on that somewhat?
No, more like for the hospital. We deliver toys. We do the Toys for Tots. We do the burn drive here that gets a lot of the money here that sponsors other different events that we do.
Okay, so there's more than this. Let's talk about the subsidiary fundraisers. You guys at the Dearborn Homecoming, which is a big event for the city of Dearborn, so in August, the firefighters have a corn cook-off or a corn thing. Talk about that. What happens there?
Well, we get donated corn. We cook it. It's everything comes in as donations. It's free. People can come up, take some corn, and if they want to leave a donation, they can. So nothing's mandatory.
And you guys are down there.
We're down there working the event,
cooking the corn, and
meeting the public.
Okay.
They're getting to meet us, and plus, I don't think there's too many people who don't give a donation when they take a piece of corn. So.
Is there a beer in that tent too? Or?
I haven't seen it myself.
Well, there's plenty of things on there. So
Yes.
that part of that too, and then that exposes the public to the fact that the firefighters are out there with this fundraiser for the burn drive.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess in the fall you have another event, which is the pumpkin thing.
patch.
Talk about the pumpkin patch. I see that I live right by Outer Drive and Cherry Hill. There's a fire station on Outer Drive between Cherry Hill and Michigan Avenue. There's always pumpkins out there. What do you guys do with the pumpkins?
Well, the pumpkin patch has been a very big success. Once again, those pumpkins are donated by local businesses, and we set them out. And again, it's like a donation. to purchase the pumpkins. And what we're finding is that families are coming back now year after year, bringing their kids back. A lot of great photo ops out there. It gives us a chance to not only meet the kids and the families, but we make sure we pull the fire truck over there and we show kids around the fire truck, and we talk some fire safety when we can. It's just been a really wonderful event and a great fundraiser for us.
And that is over at the fire station on, what number station is that on Otter Drive?
It's station number 2.
Station number 2. There's also a firehouse there too. Where we're going to talk about the firehouse, then we're going to talk about the big kahuna of the fundraisers for Dearborn Fire Department. The Dearborn Fire Department, the raffle. You got a chance to win a $40,000 car donated by Les Stanford, or some cash, a bunch of other prizes. We'll talk about that right after these words about Kiwanis. Don't go away.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Welcome back to KiwaniTalk. I'm your host, Gary Gardner, talking about the Dearborn Fire Department burn drive with Lieutenant Dan Moronis and firefighter Rick Abraham. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Now we get to the big deal here, the raffle. And if you drive around Dearborn at all, out by any of the fire stations this time of year, what do you see in front of some of the stations?
You see one heck of a beautiful car sitting out there.
Okay, and it's donated by?
Les Stanford donates that car.
And every year they're out there, and they are very, very big supporters of the burn drive.
They have been an incredible supporter of the burn drive for years and years. They provide us with a car to put at every fire station that sells tickets, and they leave that car there for months and months through the entire raffle, all the way up until the day after. They let that car sit there for free. It's very kind of them.
And so let's talk about specifically raffles, like the Mega Millions thing. I never win that because I buy tickets. But the odds in the Mega Millions are a lot higher than the Dearborn Fire Department burn drive raffle. What's the odds in the burn drive raffle for the big prize?
1 in 1,500, because there's only 1,500 tickets sold.
1,500 tickets. And how much are the tickets?
The tickets are each $50.
So for your $50, you get a chance at more than just what kind of car is it this year?
It's a Camaro.
It's a Camaro.
A Camaro, okay. So if you get the Camaro, you come see me when you get the speeding ticket, because I defend people from those things. But if you don't want the Camaro, what else could you take the option of having?
Your other option is to take the $40,000 cash.
Okay, and that's pretty good. But
Yeah.
they're more than just that first prize. What other kind of prizes do they have?
Well, for that $75, you can also win a trip to Vegas.
Okay, $50. $50.
For $50.
Yeah.
You can also win a $750 prize.
Okay.
We have several other prizes after that aren't up at the $750 range, but they're all over $50, being like a barbecue grill, fire pit, Tiger tickets, Michigan tickets, a lot of other prizes
They
that
need
you
to
can
have
win.
Spartan tickets in there, really. That's what's the problem with that.
Well, I'll put in that request.
Would you do that for me?
I will.
Please? Okay, and so when is the big drawing for the burn drive in 2020?
Due to the current COVID-19 restrictions in place and for the safety of all involved, the raffle will be presented online. Please visit the Dearborn Firefighter Burn Drive Facebook page on Thursday, June 25th at 7 p.m. to see the live drawing for many prizes, including the grand prize, a 2020 Camaro SS. If you have any questions about the drawing, please contact Steve Warden at 313-478-6761. Thank you for your participation in this important fundraiser.
So for $50, you can buy this. You get you a chance at a $40,000 cash or a Camaro, $750 in cash, trip to Vegas, all those sort of things. It's things like, why would you not buy a ticket?
You know, they sell out every year, so I think people do buy, and some people come in quick, and a lot of people ask. They come to the station before the beginning of the year asking, are we selling the raffle ticket? So I think a lot of people are interested, and they do come. And
This is the big part of your fundraising.
that's
So
the big,
we talked earlier about hospitals and things like that. What hospitals does the Dearborn Fire Department and Burn Drive support there, Dan?
Well, we support several of them. The Oakwood Beaumont Center for Exceptional Families is one of them. The Penraching Society for Blind Children is another one. The Phoenix Society. We also support the Detroit Receiving Burn Center.
And you, has the U of M got anything in there too? U of M?
I know historically we've gone to U of M also.
Okay, and so you provide money and support for the families, for the victims of burns, but also what about when they get out of the hospital? When you're in the hospital, it's one thing, but people come home with the trauma and pain of a burn. What can you do to help out at the home?
When they get home from the hospital, if they have a need and they reach out to us, we always do everything that we can to help them. Sometimes we'll go there and we'll bring them what they need. Sometimes we'll make an arrangement to have something built if they need something. Maybe it's a wheelchair ramp. And sometimes they just need money to help buy the medical supplies that they need, or even just food because they've been burned out of their home. There's a lot of different things that we do to help support the families when they've had a fire or a burn victim.
So you've been going to this Dearborn Fire Department Burn Drive raffle event at the Dearborn Civic Center a lot of years. What's the neatest thing about being part of that?
How involved everybody is in that event is pretty special. Everybody that goes there knows why we're there, and we're there to raise money to help families in need, to help people who've been victims of burns and other types of serious medical emergencies, cancer, so forth. So there's a very good spirit being there, a very good sense of community and belonging. So I find it very rewarding to be able to be there because everybody knows they're there for a common purpose, and that's to help people.
And one of the things that you mentioned before, Rick, was the Toys for Tots type of thing, so what happens? How do you deliver toys on your fire department trucks? Do they go to the houses with the sirens going, or what?
no, you know, I actually haven't been a part of getting on the bus. I know they got a big bus,
Yep.
and they put all the toys on the bus, and they deliver them to local hospitals, and you know, surprise the kids that are there with toys during Christmas season. And you know, from what I've seen of the pictures, kids love it. Our firemen love it. They love doing it. Just happens to be whatever day you work, depending on if you can get on the bus or not. So
Luck of the draw.
luck of the draw.
for
So a
Franklin.
lot of guys like helping out and doing that one.
And it seems like as a firefighter, you do that not just because it's a job, but it's you do want to help people. Talk about that aspect, how satisfying the part of that of your job that is, Dan.
Well, helping people is why we get into this business, and it certainly is satisfying and gratifying. We all enjoy that aspect of it. So it's a wonderful feeling. We can go home in the morning feeling like we've accomplished something, and hopefully we've made somebody's day better. Because we get called when somebody's experiencing the worst moment of their entire life. They call us to help, and when we can make that better, we go home feeling good.
I've got to imagine, Rick, when you guys show up, nobody ever says, "Damn, you're here," or "You're here."
Well, no, we wear this uniform. We get mistaken for police all the time. So
Right. Well, sometimes, yeah. Okay, yeah.
yeah. So after that, no, they love when we show up to their, you know, especially when they see us. They love firemen usually.
And again, one of the things that I like to brag on about Dearborn is because you're all paramedic trained as firefighters, the level of care that Dearborn provides for not just the citizens, but anybody who happens to be in town is right up there. How does that compare to the rest of the state? Anybody have an idea, or rest of the country?
You know, I know a lot of like Wayne County, they're pretty much paramedics too. You know, once you get outside those areas, a lot of them go volunteer to where, you know, they're not as trained paramedic-wise, or emergency-wise, but a lot of local fire departments are paramedic. Dearborn just happens to be probably one of the first that became paramedic, and you know, they're a step above some of the other departments as far as training, equipment, amount of resources we have, amount of employees we have, people on hand for certain situations where some of the smaller departments might have 2-3 guys. You know, we at least have the manpower to show up and get the job done, do what we have to do.
Back to the Burn Drive raffle, where can people buy tickets if they want to buy them?
Well, we sell the tickets at 3 of our fire stations. Station number 2 here at Michigan and Outer Drive. Come in during normal business hours. Just ring the bell and be somebody come out and sell you a ticket, invite you in. Station 1 on Greenfield, that's south of Michigan Avenue. You can buy them there. And we also have a sale at our Melvindale station that we cover the city of Melvindale now. So you can buy tickets there. So if you see a Camaro sitting out in front of a fire station, that's a station you can buy a ticket at.
I have a question because Skip Armstrong and Ray Scaboria and we've got a couple of firefighters here talking about a Burn Drive, and we want to buy 4 tickets. Can we do that?
I'll tell you, 4 tickets, 5 tickets, 8 tickets. You just tell me, I'll get them to you.
We have a check right now for $200 for 4 tickets for the Dearborn Department Burn Drive. I'll give you the check, and there you go. And it's
Thank you.
And we hope that this will be I hope there's tickets left over, because you said before, Rick, that they sell out.
They do. They usually, you get to a point where you got a few tickets left and you're like, are they going to sell out? And then people just come and buy them up, and then you always have the guy who comes in, hey, is there any tickets left? And we have to tell them, sorry, they're all sold out.
Due to the current COVID-19 restrictions in place and for the safety of all involved, the raffle will be presented online. Please visit the Dearborn Firefighter Burn Drive Facebook page on Thursday, June 25th at 7 p.m. to see the live drawing for many prizes, including the grand prize, a 2020 Camaro SS. If you have any questions about the drawing, please contact Steve Warden at 313-478-6761. Thank you for your participation in this important fundraiser.
Okay, Dan, thank you very much for coming on the
Thank you for having
program.
us.
Good luck and stay safe. Rick, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for being part of KiwaniTalk. We'll see you next time, and think about helping out firefighters when they get the boots out there too along the roads. Don't forget about that part of it.
Yes.
Gary Gardner, see you later. Bye-bye.